Hi kids, let's talk Tron. I love me some Tron. I read the book, the novelization of Tron in 1982 before I went to the cinema. I went to the cinema with my uncle and my two brothers, and my uncle fell asleep. My two brothers had no idea what was going on, but I knew everything. Love the Tron franchise so much. But now, as the title of this video suggests, I'm going to tell you about why I genuinely believe Tron Ares is going to flop like a stone. I've got five main reasons. Firstly is the gaps between the films. For a franchise that could have done really good things, it could have stood up there with Star Wars, etc. It's a completely original concept. The idea of shrinking down and going into the digital realm was never done before, and it could have been much bigger than it currently is. But they waited 28 years between the first Tron in 1982 and Tron Legacy in 2010. And now they've waited another 15 years because of false starts and all sorts of stuff. And it took Jared Leto to really push for Tron Ares to be made. So those kind of gaps do not inspire confidence. Obviously, it shows that Disney doesn't really care about it, but we'll get onto that in a sec. But if you're going to wait that long between it, look, generations basically, people aren't going to stay invested in it, or the general public aren't going to stay particularly invested in it. Not to mention, well, we'll get on to that. The second thing, the concept of Tron is still quite difficult for people to get their heads around. They see a movie, a trailer, and they're like, what is this then? What is he, a robot? Is he, especially with Tron Ares now, they're saying, they're seeing the cycles and Jared Leto's character and everyone else sort of in the real world as opposed to in the digital realm. And people are like, well, what is this? Is this Pixels? It sounds like it's very similar to Pixels. So that's a tricky one. Even when it was in the digital world, people couldn't quite get their heads around what it's supposed to be. And Disney themselves and the storytelling is a little bit inconsistent, shall we say. So let's talk about Disney's lack of support. Now, I know Disney own the concept and they are the ones behind these films, but you can tell they don't really care much about Tron. When Tron Legacy came out, they were like, okay, so they gave it a reasonable budget, obviously bigger than the first film, but the first film was groundbreaking for its time. Nothing had been done like that. But 28 years later, every film's got CGI. So Tron Legacy had to stand up and actually stand up against some other films that use CGI in better ways. A lot of people like Tron Legacy, but a lot of people thought Tron Legacy was the first film because it was so long since the Tron 1982. More to the point, the inconsistency, it changes a lot. Tron 82 doesn't look very much like Tron Legacy, and Tron Legacy is not going to look too much like Tron Ares from what I can tell. Disney put out an animated series. This is not, you can't get it on DVD. This is just a kind of CD type version called Tron Uprising, which is a great series. And it takes place in the Tron Legacy universe with a massive star-studded cast. But Disney decided to put it on at midnight when no one would watch it, and they moved it around the schedules and then started saying no one's watching this. They really put a lot of money into this and then treated it like it was garbage. But it's not. It's a great show. But Disney didn't care. And also at the time they said, oh, we got a chance to buy Marvel and Star Wars here. Let's buy those. And then, sorry, Joseph Kosinski, director of Tron Legacy, you can forget doing another Tron movie, plus the Black Hole remake we wanted you to do. We're all about Marvel and Star Wars now, so forget it. So Disney are not, they're not putting as much money, effort, and marketing into it as they would with a Star Wars or a Marvel property. And as a result, it's going to flop, and they're going to say, "We told you it wasn't very good," and it's just because they haven't made the effort. What else have we got? Yes. Jared Leto. He is Marmite. Initially very popular, handsome actor, interesting guy, kind of a sort of a Johnny Depp kind of, attractive long-haired chap, who's quite deep and quite thoughtful, and he's a good actor. But in latter years, his, shall we say, his reputation has been sullied a little bit, and it's surprising that he managed to actually get Tron Ares off the ground and into production, because he is a massive Tron Ares fan. But there's, again, going back to the continuity, there's a little bit of confusion. I mean, Tron shares the same color scheme as Star Wars when it comes to lightsabers. Bad is red, good is blue. And the color scheme for Tron Ares is all black and red. So is Ares a bad guy? Is Ares a good guy? I've yet to see in any of the trailers a bad guy. So who's the protagonist and who's the antagonist in this film? I will say that I am grateful that Jared Leto has, willed this film into existence, because I want to see more Tron films, as much as possible. But like I said, I think it's not going to do too well because of all the reasons, especially the general public not knowing what the heck is going on. I can't remember if I said it at the start of this video. I'm going to see Tron Ares on Sunday. I'm hoping I'll come back with a review that is very happy, but I'll be realistic one way or the other. Anyway, my final reason for why I think Tron Ares is going to flop, and again, this comes from someone who hasn't seen the film yet, is the lack of Bruce Boxleitner. Bruce Boxleitner, in all, well, let's look at the originals. Have we got the originals here? I have, but Bruce Boxleitner is Tron. He plays a character called Tron, and he was used in Tron Legacy as a kind of minor supporting character. He was promised a return, and it never happened, to the point where Bruce Boxleitner himself has said, "I'm done with Tron. They haven't treated me particularly well, considering the film is named after me." Yes, it's kind of Jeff Bridges' story, but to keep rolling Jeff Bridges out, at his age, when they really should be dealing with the Alan Bradley stroke Tron character a lot more, is a waste. I mean, what was it, 15 years since Tron Legacy, and they had plenty of time to do more with Bruce Boxleitner. Now, will he show up in Tron Ares? We don't know. There's rumors that he might, but then anything's possible. I will let you know after Sunday on my video. Anyway, those are my 5 reasons why I don't think Tron Ares will be a big hit. Disney don't support it. There's not enough money being thrown into it, marketing, advertising. It's inconsistent. There's too many years between movies, and all the other reasons I quoted. What do you think? Are you looking forward to Tron Ares? I am. I really am. I very rarely go to the cinema nowadays unless I really want to see a film, and I really want to see Tron Ares, and I really want it to be a success. But I don't have a lot of hope right now. I may come out of the cinema and say it's a wonderful film, but it's still not going to grab the public's imagination. We shall see. Anyway, leave your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.